The long-established ecosystems of Palau both sustain and protect its populations and its many visitors. Over the years and generations, a multitude of areas have been set aside and elevated to a higher protected status due to their special increased biological and cultural importance. Numerous sites are incorporated and contain ecosystems ranging from forest and river systems to mangroves, reefs, and reef channels. The reefs and mangroves, forests and rivers provide food, water, medicine, building materials, and hold a great cultural significance to Palauans. Certain threats have, however, been seen within Palau's protected areas and are known as invasive species.
To understand what an invasive species is, you have to first understand what an introduced species is. And an introduced species is any organism, animal, plant, pathogen, or disease that is not native to a certain ecosystem, but is brought in or introduced into that ecosystem through human activities. And once that organism is introduced into the area, it becomes an invasive species if the population or their numbers become very abundant, and then they start to cause harm to the environment, economy, or even human health.
In terms of island ecosystems, invasive species, they bring about change, usually detrimental, and usually we are unable to correct any, for example, the brown tree snake. There's no way it can be eradicated in Guam. If they're trying, they're still trying, but and the loss that came with the introduction was so profound that you lose 9 species went extinct, 9 bird species went extinct. That in itself is just a total ecological loss.
Some of the main invasive species found in Palau are Maremia, Micania, mission grass, and imperata. And for animals is monkeys, fruit flies, rhinoceros beetle.
The biggest threat is the gabias. It has a big effect on the trees, which is the habitats for all species from the ground up, so. It has a heart-shaped leaf with vines, and it covers the canopy. That does affect the growth of the trees, especially the endemic trees of Palau. And also it affects the birds that live there too. So, yeah. So the work that we do to eradicate the invasive species is that we identify the site, we identify the size, and what type of gabias or invasive species in that area. And what we do is we trace the vines all the way to the root of the problem. We cut the root of the problem, and then whatever left that we took out, that we cut, we bring it out to the road or on the side to get picked up. We don't want to leave anything there. Also, we just want to make sure that there's no seeds or any other parts of the invasive species there, and it has potential to grow in that area.
Ngaram lang we stay there all time. Auspera program ra pansay trabalu. Al ngarmas kang bird sanctuary. Lolangyas kartel gabayas. El dodengel wasing malmla tombalia aramalela bela rogi. Mamla marula ulagi ba tara rura community outreach ra pansay ta lu lobantarira adara balu. El mem te imlo ngasi wal milari gabayas. Ade qaltara urul mla lagi moru ni real anga panwin site rangers sa open trirar state public works road and ground alguk timlari ra kulara.
mang elang ul mang gadamal mang elak masela moles gaya dal masesa bal basyo ay gaya mal clowa invasive species el dub ngay lang invasive species el dalam la sawal dub ay gel el mal clowa silsel morning dakal sawal langot al dalam lan ngara basyo.
Ya result ta kada nam tingin la sang omlu ural omelmot omeles ba ul makabasa metob del mirama ayal melomsel ayagi dia nya dia ka ure medil sel modir adi taro le kada ngid al adl loses kada o utmo kada control ngim dingar segi del baso dingar am un tal bel todo mesils.
Clearing parties like this one use the same tools as can anyone else. It's better to be vigilant and stop the vine from growing when it's small.
So we just dumped a fresh load of cabias there. That fresh load will sit there and dry up for a couple of weeks to a month. And then we mix it with other materials, natural materials, organic materials. And then from this organic material, we'll let it sit for about 2 to 3 months. And then we keep mixing it, and the finished product is potting soil. And then after the potting soil is done and ready, we use it to plant decorative fruits and trees.
Palau reefs and marine ecosystems are also under threat from invasive species. One such example is the crown-of-thorns starfish, which, if left unchecked, can destroy a vast area of coral reefs. There are numerous reasons why population can get out of control. Soil erosion covering the reef is one.
The other cause of crown-of-thorns starfish outbreak is when you have decreased predators of this organism. So when there's few organisms feeding on crown-of-thorns, there's a tendency for the population of crown-of-thorns to expand or increase exponentially. What causes a decrease in the predators to crown-of-thorns starfish is due to overharvesting of organisms like pufferfish or the triton shell, which feeds on these organisms.
We need our reefs to remain healthy, especially our MPA. When numbers increase, working parties are organized to remove as many as possible. Other marine ecosystems in Palau have also come under threat from invasive species, including an invasive anemone in the Jellyfish Lake.
So during our studies, we found an brown sea anemone that was not native to Jellyfish Lake, and we first found it at the dock, and from there we've seen it spread from the dock all the way around the lake, and it was growing on mangrove roots on the rocky bottoms, and it was just basically covering everything that was a hard substrate. So we do see studies that have shown that invasive species can have a huge negative impact on the ecosystems that are isolated. And we will, if this trend of having introduced species into the lakes continue, then there could be that possibility of also seeing the same thing affect these isolated ecosystems in the lakes. Yeah.
What we need to keep in mind is that invasive species are opportunistic. They don't usually travel between islands by themselves. They usually get there through some other means. Islanders are a cultural people, and part of that culture is to, when you visit another island, you bring stuff over that sort of shows your appreciation for the exchange. That's a big part of island life. And that's a perfect opportunity for an invasive species. A little fire ant, a moth, a rhino beetle, a baby brown tree snake. I mean, there's all kinds of creepers and crawlers and things that are out there that will get into a new, isolated island system and just wreak havoc. When you see something, say something. As far as invasive species goes, you see that a coconut tree's leaves are dying, report it, call somebody. The Bureau of Agriculture is there, take phone calls, and they will, find a way to check it out.
If you're unaware of what are the invasive species, please contact our Pan State programs, PCS, and they will give you information and guidance on how to reduce the spread of different types of invasive species.